What's up, everybody? It's your main man, Joe Fleetwood, the hustler, and welcome to the Joe Fleetwood Podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the coldest actors to ever grace your television screen. This man turned silence into intimidation. He also mastered the art of calm and control, but his career also almost didn't take off. Some of you may know him as Gus Fring from Breaking Bad. Others may know him as Moff Gideon if you're a fan of The Mandalorian. But before all of that was his relationship with Spike Lee. Today, we're going to be breaking down the life and the achievements of none other than Giancarlo Esposito. Giancarlo was born in Copenhagen, Denmark in 1958. His dad was an Italian stage technician and also a carpenter. His mom was an African-American opera singer. So very early on in his life, he was surrounded with performance and discipline. And by the age of 8, he was already performing on Broadway. I'm not talking about television. I'm not talking about commercials. I'm talking about Broadway. And this foundation would also be the reason that he could almost control a scene without saying a word. Now, this is where things begin to take a change for Mr. Esposito. Before he became one of Hollywood's most respected actors, he connected with a young filmmaker by the name of Spike Lee. Now, this wasn't just another acting gig. This relationship would become one of the most important collaborations in his career. Together, they worked on School Days, Do the Right Thing, Mo Better Blues, and Malcolm X. And these were not just movies. And these films didn't deal with just race. They dealt with Black identity, the culture, and social truths in America. And Giancarlo Esposito became one of the faces of that movement. Now, in a 2024 interview with BuzzFeed, Gene said that his relationship with Spike Lee was a very dear friendship. And that right there alone lets you know that the type of relationship they fostered over the years. It was one steeped in mentorship, brotherhood, and a creative trust, so to speak. In that same interview, he also mentioned how he wanted to be of service to Spike Lee and Spike Lee's vision. One of the things that's most notable about Giancarlo Esposito's acting style was he never tried to overpower a scene. He always stayed focused on the purpose. Now, one of my favorite movies and the one where I was first introduced to him as an actor was Do the Right Thing. And in Do the Right Thing, he played a character called Bugging Out. Bugging Out was loud and outspoken and unapologetic, the exact opposite of his character Gus Fring in Breaking Bad. But this role showed his range early. And according to Giancarlo himself, in the same BuzzFeed interview in 2024, we felt an energy we were doing something important. And they were right. That film became one of the most important discussions of race relations on film to this day. Spike Lee gave Gene visibility, but more importantly, he gave him cultural significance. And while Spike Lee may have set the stage, Gene was the one that delivered. Unlike a lot of Black actors in Hollywood, Gene Esposito, he had some of the same struggles. A lot of time, the fame doesn't always match the money. In an interview with The Guardian in 2024, he mentioned there was a point where he got really desperate, which happens to a lot of actors when the fame doesn't match the money. You can be respected, talented, you can even be critically acclaimed, but behind the scenes, there's still going to be some struggles that you have to deal with. Then the role came that will forever change his life, and that was the role of Gus Fring. In the series, real name Gustavo Fring in Breaking Bad, he was calm, he was controlled, and he was terrifying. The foundation of Gus Fring started years ago. Spike Lee films taught Giancarlo how to perform with meaning, with restraint, and with intention. That's why Gus feels so real. Every movement mattered. Every pause matters. Giancarlo doesn't play villains the way you would think a monster would. He plays them like a human being who believes he's right. That's why the characters feel intelligent instead of cartoonish. And that philosophy traces all the way back to his early dealings with Spike Lee. Movies that forced people to think deeply about people, systems, and culture. Today, Giancarlo Esposito represents something bigger than acting. He represents reinvention. He became iconic in his 50s, not his 30s, not his 20s. His story proves that the biggest moments can happen later on in life. And sometimes the people you meet early in your journey can shape the way your future turns out. And for Giancarlo Esposito, that person was Spike Lee. I hope you all enjoyed this episode of Joe Fleetwood Podcast. And if you did, make sure you like and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Peace.